the daf until the Ilam got on. Welcome back, Peretz Live.
Thank you. I hope everybody's muted.
Yeah. Okay. So tonight is another action-packed daf, even more than last night's. Let's get right to it. Ad Heichon Chayav Adam. We're on Lamed Amud Aleph by the two dots, about 9 lines down from the top. All right. So Ad Heichon Chayav Adam L'Lamed Es B'nai Torah. How far does a person have to go to teach his Torah? Meaning, how much do you have to teach him? Zvulun ben Don. Zvulun ben Don. She limdu of Avi Aviv, because that's Shmuel ben Don's grandfather taught him Mikra, Mishnah, Talmud, Halachas, V'Agodas. His grandfather taught it to him. So you see, the Gemara wants to say that you see that's what you have to teach him. So the Gemara says, Meisvei, Lamdu Mikra in he teaching him psukim in Lamdu Lamdu Mikra Ein Malamdoi Mishnah. Right? He should teach, you have to teach your kid psukim, Torah, but you don't have to teach him Mishnayos. Right? V'amarava Mikra zu Torah. And Mikra is referring to Torah, not even Nevi'im and Ksuvim, Rashi says. You just have to teach him Torah.
But see, Yaakov,
yeah,
isn't Torah Shabbat Pen not something you could just learn on your own? Be a side?
Yeah, but I don't think it means to learn on his own. His own means his father doesn't have to teach him.
If it's Messiah, why? If somebody's mechayev to teach, or if he needs to learn it, why is his father not mechayev to teach him?
Because what's the lumdus? Why only Mikra?
Right, because both of them are considered Torah, so meaning they're both considered Torah from the Shemayim. So why one over the other, or one to the exclusion of the other?
I don't know. What
Rashi implies that it's because he can teach himself, but we know that's not true. That's not how Torah Shabbat works.
Yeah, but meaning it's his responsibility to have somebody else teach him. It's not the father.
But Rashi doesn't say it that way. Rashi says because Yilamed hu la'atzmai.
Yeah, I know, but I'm telling you that I think Rashi means not mila atzmai. He has to get somebody to teach it to him. That's what I think. I don't know if I'm right. Meaning it's not the father's responsibility. Right? That's what I think. It's no longer the father's responsibility. You're asking a good question. Why stop at Mikra? Right? Anyways, so what the kasha is that what was Zvulun ben Don's grandfather teaching him if the Brisa says it's only Mikra? So Gemara answers, because Zvulun ben Don, but like Zvulun ben Don. It's like Zvulun ben Don, but not like Zvulun ben Don. Because Zvulun ben Don shalom do Avi Ovid. His grandfather taught him. So therefore you see from this that there's a mitzvah on the grandfather to teach his grandson. But like Zvulun ben Don and not like Zvulun ben Don, the Ilu Hasam, he was on a fast track. Mikra, Mishnah, Talmud, Halachas, V'Agodas, V'ilu Hacha, Mikra Levad. And here we only teach Mikra. Right, so therefore you only have to teach your son Mikra. Now, L'chara Mikra means, right, Akiva means the whole Torah. Anybody here do that? Anybody here teach your son, or was anybody here taught by their fathers or by
Don't they do
Rebbeinu?
things like that? Don't they do that like in Israel?
Even there, it's a minority. No? Who went through the whole thing? No? I don't know. It seems like from this that we're not Mekayim the mitzvah. I mean, Rashi says that he has to teach him how to read, right? Didn't Rashi say that? I don't know. Okay, that's just the kasha. Now also
it says the whole thing where he has to teach him Mikra.
Mikra. It's a mikra.
Mikra
It
means
means,
Who says
Torah.
that's the whole thing?
it says mikra zu Torah. For loy
So-
neviim uksuvim.
You
Loy
teach him
neviim uksuvim.
what you think a first grader could.
No,
Could
well, who made that rule up?
Where did you get the whole Torah? Where did
Because
you
if it says, because if Rashi says v'loy neviim uksuvim, that means but the whole Torah, yeah.
he's mechoyev to teach him chumash the as much as the kid can handle? Why are you saying more?
What do you mean? So then why? So Rashi should just say as much as the kid could handle, right? If he's Rashi, why is Rashi stopping at neviim uksuvim or starting at neviim? So just say teach him Bereshis, and that's
maybe
it.
maybe Mikra is too above his head. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know. I don't know. But okay, but that's
this
okay.
I want to ask you separate. Is this that the Zayd is mechuyev to pay tuition?
He's not mechuyev. It just says it's
He's mechuyev to teach his grandchild Torah, right?
yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yeah.
That right. Okay.
Tuition
But all
and
it is-
teaching Torah are not one and the same.
The what? What tuition?
If
and
I
Torah?
learn from if I learn
Tuition,
from my father, the
90%
mikra
of it is
means
going to other expenditures.
if I learn from my father, the mikra means once in a while.
Very good.
It's Yaakov. Where does it say anything about building fund here? I'm just curious.
Yeah. Yes. Watch out.
Oh, that's it. I
They're
got
going
myself.
to-
Zach,
get your
you're the one who talked this all, man. It wasn't us.
You get your kapara before Rosh Hashanah. There you go.
It's Yaakov. The amount the building funds going around this week is more than a kapara.
Yeah, that's yes.
And you get
yes.
a bigger mitzvah if you don't answer back.
Ah, the father.
That's an answer back.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, that's but anyways, what now? Does it only mean your son's son? What about your daughter's sons?
What does it differentiate?
Yeah, it says your son's sons. It doesn't say your daughter's. Doesn't say your daughter's sons.
Wait,
Your daughter has a husband. He's the father. That's his problem.
No, we're talking about the grandfather has a mitzvah independent of the father.
so he has an independent, or if the father doesn't do it.
No, independent, I think.
But only
I think-
because B'nai Banim are Em Kabanim. That would only apply
Right.
to the son, not the daughter.
So what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like.
And
Right.
Allah does it bring down, or you?
Yeah. There's a Kesef Mishnah about it. There's a Kesef Mishnah about it. Seems to say that it would be the grandchildren also. Meaning they
Only-
come before.
Only
Yeah.
sons, right?
They can't. No, daughters' sons too. Daughters' sons to come before others.
So the job
come-
never ends.
So
Basically.
that
Basically.
include if the kid is a mamzer?
I have no idea. I don't know.
He's chayav to
Why
learn
would- why
also.
Why would your kid, mom's your kid, not be considered a momser learn Torah like everyone else?
Yeah,
There's no
Chayra.
less up here for a momser.
yeah.
Correct.
All that.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. So let's see weiter. We still got a lot more to do. So the Gemara says, "Vavi aviv mi
Parents,
mechayev."
I'm enjoying myself being on mute. I'll tell you that. I'm having a lot of fun.
I was gonna say, you know what? If it's his daughter-in-law gives birth to a mamzer, I don't think the grandfather's gonna want to pay anything for that child.
Yeah, maybe the other grandfather will. Yeah. So Vavi aviv mechayev, is the grandfather really chayev? Hatani ulamadatem vilimadatem asam es b'neichem v'loy b'nei b'neichem. It says you teach your kids, not your grandkids. Umani mekayim v'aydatem levanecha levanecha v'necha. Okay, so what do you do with the pasuk of to your kids and to your grandkids? Laimer Allah shekalam alamed es b'nei Torah. If somebody teaches his son Torah, ma'ila lavakaza ki lulamdu loy ula b'nei ula ben b'nei. Then if you teach your son, it's as if you teach your grandson and your grandson, and great grandson. Atzoiv kol ha'Torahs, until the end of all the Torahs. Whatever it is, it says from this brisa, you're not mechuyev to teach your grandson. So my answer is, Hu da'amar ki atana detanya v'limadtem oisam es b'neichem, ainli ala b'neichem, b'nei b'neichem inayin. How do you know that you have to teach your grandchildren? Tama loimer, v'aydatem levanecha levnei vanecha. Right? So therefore, basically, he's saying we have a machlokes tanoim, whether you have to teach your grandson or not. So it's a machlokes. Yeah, what are you saying?
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, so maybe by when we spoke a few times about Milyashiv when he didn't wear the shtreimel to the next door because he said he could say Adis on that person. So maybe he's not chayiv to teach him that
Maybe
the fifth door, whatever.
Interesting. Maybe. Maybe. What was I just thinking about that? I don't remember. Yeah. So the lashon and Shulchan Aruch, how we paskin is kashem shemitzvah lalamed is benoi. The same way it's a mitzvah to teach your son. Kach mitzvah lalamed is ben benoi. Shenemer v'dad v'levanecha v'levnei vanecha v'loy leben benoi belvad. El mitzvah al kol chacham b'Yisrael lalamed l'talmidim shegam hein nekroim banim. El shav mitzvah l'akdim ben leben benoi uben benoi leben chaveroi. Right. Some meaning. It's a mitzvah to teach anybody who has teaching ability should teach, but your grandchildren come first.
It makes it sound like it's a chiyuv almost on the chacham.
Doesn't say chayiv, it says mitzvah. Right?
He's being mevatel mitzvah if he doesn't.
If you go, it's an interesting thing. Imagine a guy says his grandchildren want to learn with him, and he says, "Listen, I'm a rebbe in a yeshiva, so I don't have time to learn with you." Right? L'chayra, that's not like Shulchan Aruch. Only thing is, you could say that nowadays we pay the yeshivas to do the job for us. Right? That's the only thing.
I'm saying a person could say that Rabbi Yoshev didn't, or Rabbi Chaim, I guess they did. People came to them a whole day. But I'm saying, right.
That's what Reb Chaim said. The reason why he answered all those letters, right? He spent hours a day answering letters, and he said the reason is because he didn't say a shir. So that was instead of a shir. Right.
So a person who has the capability should share it with everybody else.
Correct. Hence, we have so many yeshivas. Right.
You don't have to be Rosh Yeshiva if you pay him.
Okay, so I'm Rabbi Shua ben Levi. Kol Amalamed is ben benoy Torah Milo of Akasav Kilu Kibla Me Har Sinai. It's as if he was Makabala from Har Sinai. Shenemar Vaydatim Levanecha Levanei Vanecha. Right, it says you teach your kids and the grandkids. Samachle Yom Asher Amalach Fnei Hashem Lekecha B'Chayriv. Chayriv is another name for Har Sinai. So it's when you teach a grandchild Torah, it's as if you are standing on Har Sinai. Now, who's standing on Har Sinai, the grandchild or the grandfather? So I don't know.
Okay, the grandfather. We're talking about the person who's teaching the grandson.
Why? But he's just
Kol
teaching.
HaMelamed es ben beno. That's the grandfather.
Ma'ila lava
because of ki'ilu kibla me Har Sinai. That the grandfather.
Allah. It doesn't say Allah is who on who.
He's Makabal. The guy being taught. He's being Makabal. So it's both. Why can't it be both? It's like Hashem gave us.
That's Allah is him.
I guess it's the grandson.
Singular.
No, it's the grandfather.
I thought it was the grandfather. But
the Maharsha brings down both pshatim.
Yes. So there's Maharsha about this, and but it's fine. The Shadi Disna Reisha.
You see, Yaakov, do you have time for a Maisa that makes this point or no?
Go ahead. Phylum wants it.
Shlomo told us, this is many years ago, old Rav in Pittsburgh told him this. So this is when this Rav was in Cheder in Sakachov. So it's a Maisa over 100 years ago. So he went to a Cheder in a different town where he had an uncle and a cousin lived, who's by him there wasn't a Sakachov Cheder. So his father sent him to his brother. And he went to Cheder, and let's say they're in the 5th grade, and the Rebbe saying over the Gemara. And the Rebbe in the middle screams out Shema Yisrael, and he jumps out of his chair, and the other kid is just sitting there, Then the Rebbe continues right in the shir, and the next thing happens the next day also. So he asks his cousin, "What is the Rebbe doing?" He says, "The first person, Krishma, screaming it out loud." So he says, "Yeah, the Rebbe holds that he's giving over Torah Sinai, just like Klal Yisrael got it seen. There's a direct line, and if he's going off the derech, if he feels he's not giving it over properly, he says Shema Yisrael to get him back in the moment, in the game. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That's a good Maisa. Yeah, maybe you should say by Torah Masorah. Hey, instead of doing the copiers, get up and say this Maisa, no? That'd be a good thing. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yes, thank you. So anyway, so this interesting Maisa here, Rav Pia Bar Abba Ashkel the Rav Yeshua ben Levi, the Shadi Disna Reisha, he threw something on his head, right? Meaning like a shmata on his head. And he went to run to bring his grandson to shul, right, to learn. So Rashi says, why did he put something over his head? Because you can't go outside outside without a head covering. So he didn't have. He was in such a rush. He just took anything. It's almost like he put on a baseball cap or something, right? Because he couldn't go out with his head uncovered. So Amalei, my kulei, so he said, what are you doing? You're running like this. Amalei, this is the source for staying off of Beach 9th Street at around 9 a.m. carpool time and Reed's Lane when Tag lets out. The sakonas nefashas of the rushing cars. Yeah. So this Gemara is actually a riot to it. So Amalei, mi zuter ma'itichsiv, is it so small by you what's written by Dalil Levnecha? I want to participate in that. So Mamela was so important to me to run him to yeshiva. He wasn't teaching his kid. Elamai, the bringing him to yeshiva was the equivalent, right? So you see that the father makes sure the kid goes to yeshiva. What?
You could say that he is teaching him by showing him how important it is. That is teaching the grandchild.
Okay, but you still have to teach him.
That is hagufa. That is
okay.
the lesson.
That's okay.
It's Yaakov. Isn't that how he said that women are subject to
correct, right?
That's what Talmud Torah.
Yes, that's woman's chus.
Or pain.
Right.
Bringing. Here it says bring.
Is it like the same thing with the schav going to the shir and brachas? Is the walking because you're going to fall asleep?
What? Yeah. From then on, he got so inspired, right? He would not eat umtza, right? Umtza is meat. Until he read with the Yanuka and then added on. Rashi says until he chazered what was done the day before and then added on. He wouldn't eat till he brought the kid to the Bismedish.
Wouldn't eat meat, you said.
What? Eat meat, yes, correct.
So they ate meat even though the churban.
They ate meat. What's the matter eating meat after the churban?
But you once told me, not just
the Amar of Safar Mishum Mishum Ben Chanani Ma'id Siv Shinantam Levanecha says you should teach to your sons. Al Tikri Vishinantam Ella Vishilashtem. Only make it into thirds, which means that La'ilam Yashlish Adam Shanoisav, a person should divide his years into three. Shlish B'Mikra, a third with Tanakh. Shlish B'Mishnah, a third in Mishnayis. Shlish B'Talmud. Shlish in Gemara. So Gemara says, how are you supposed to know how to split it into thirds? You don't know how long you're living. Right? So Gemara says, like it means as days. All right. Now, there's an interesting Rashi here.
How do you know if you're going to live out the day? I mean,
so one second. So Rashi says days of the week. So 2 days Mishnah, 2 days Mikra, 2 days Mishnah, 2 days Gemara. Tosfos says, how do you know you're living out the week? So Tosfos says you split the day.
How do you know you're going to live out the day?
So for some reason, it seems like, I think this maybe has to do with chazakas. If you're already alive today, you have a chazaka you're living today. After the day, it doesn't go.
I know one thing: there is no chazaka in life. No.
Well, everybody has to die at some point at something.
I'm saying, why is a week or a day? Well, if a guy's 40, if you're going on Roiv people 42 don't die, right? So you could say so. Mistama the week. I'm saying like. I don't understand.
You guys don't say brachas every morning? Every morning you say the neshama should have sat the beat. The Baruch he gave you back your neshama now. That's what is it? If a person gives you back your the Baruch gives you the neshama in the morning, you're going to assume that you're going to be the rest of the day.
Really, you're going to assume that?
Why? He could have taken it last night. He could have taken it the last night. It would have been the same day in a yard site. So what's the difference? He took it. So I'm going to assume you'll last till supper.
Why isn't Allah here?
Well, if you don't go with that day, Zev, so how are you ever learning it? How are you ever doing it?
Yeah, what's the alternative? Every minute you switch divide every minute.
They die next minute. You can.
Well, I'm saying, but what's the
alternative?
alternative? Not learn at all.
I mean, it would make sense to me. 2 days a week, this 2 days, even the week. Why shouldn't the week? Why shouldn't a week thing? A person, if he lives,
so that's one mandam.
Yeah.
See, Yaakov Tyson actually, I think, Bavarn's it. He brings up that even before you get to Sukkot Zimra, you could already be Yaitse learning all three.
Oh, so one second.
The way Amram was Masakin.
Here's
what
the
you should
thing.
say before Sukkot Zimra.
Which Tysus?
Oh, so there's an important Tysus here.
Where?
So Tysus like Tzricha L'Yomi. Third Tysus up is the source for Karbonis.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Not Karbonis from a cloth. Okay, just Karbonis. Right? So Tysus understands it that it means to split it into threes. If your day. And he says Al Kain, halfway through the Tysus, he says Al Kain Tikkun Beseder of Amram going Kamosh Anu Noigim B'chol Yom Kodim Psuka de Zimra Laim Mikra Mishnah U'Gemara.
Why is it?
That's where it comes, the Karbonis, which is where it comes from, that yeshivas. Let's go one second. Let's finish the Tysus. Rabbeinu Tam Pirush Shanasam Ganahad Amrina B'Sanhedrin Bavel Belula B'Mikra, meaning Shas Bavli is Belula B'Mikra B'Mishnah U'Gemara. The Gemara's Bavel Balul Nikulam. So we're Yaitza learning all three when we learn Talmud Bavli, which is the excuse for yeshivas. And then that's why yeshivas don't say Karbonis, because they say since they're spending the day learning Talmud Bavli, so Mamela, they have all of that. Yeah.
As opposed to the Talmud in the Gemara? What does Talmud mean in the Gemara?
I don't know.
What their thought process is?
Third Talmud.
I don't know. That's the thought. From what I understand, that's Miniga Yeshivas. That's where the Miniga Yeshivas came from, that they don't say Karbonis. Now, they don't end up saying Talmud and Ketairis, which Talmud for sure has to be said. But the other Karbonis, that's what they are. The Yeshivas say that they learn Bavli, which sometimes in Yeshivas they learn so they don't even open a Gemara for a week. But that's a different story. Right? Okay, we're not going down that road. Fine. But that's an important.
If you learn Daf Yomi, you don't have to say Kabbanis. This is
yeah, but the only problem is that the yeshivas, when they get to Psukim, say, it's Psukim, let's go weiter. So how does that go?
What about Allah?
I don't know. So where does halacha come in? Bavli is officially halacha.
Okay.
Anyway, so Lefikoch, back in the Gemara, third by line. Lefikoch nikru Rishonim Seifrim. They called them Rishonim Seifrim, right? Counters. Right? Now, this is not Lefikoch. Rashi points out, Lefikoch sounds like it's a continuation of the previous Gemara. It's not. It's a new thing. Lefikoch nikru Rishonim Seifrim. Shayu Seifrim kol ha'oisiyos shebetayra. Because they count all the oisiyos in B'Torah. I always wonder that why, sometimes it says half the oisiyos here, half the oisiyos there. Who cares? I hate to say, I don't mean it like that, but like, what is the difference if we're halfway through? I mean, they didn't have ADHD back then. Nowadays, I could hear it. Maybe they did. I don't know.
They had it. It was just undiagnosed.
That must be. Anyway, so they shahayu aimrim vav the gachain chatzion shal oisiyos shal sefer Torah. The word, the vav of the word gachain, right? It's in Vayikra. That's half the oisiyos in the Torah. Darash, right? Chatzion shal tevos. That's half the words. Viskalach, right? Shal psukim. That's half of the psukim. Yechaser chazir miyar is ayin diyar chatzin shal tilim. V'hu rachum yechaper avoyin chatziv the psukim. That's half of the psukim. Okay, I don't get this, but clearly there's some sort of significance in knowing this, unless it's just a way of saying, just a way of showing how well they knew it, that they were able to do that. Either way, if you look at the Achrayim, the numbers are off seemingly. They're off a little bit, but fine. Another interesting question. So we're saying the Vav of Gachain is the middle. So Gemara is asking, okay, so the Vav is on the first half of the Torah or the second half? Right? The Mefarshim asks, well, why couldn't it be the middle? Right? Why couldn't it be the middle? Right? Who says, right? Yeah, fine. Amar Lei, he said, Nesi Sefer, let's count it to see. That they didn't move from there. And Rashi says he doesn't know where this, meaning normally they say, when we say right? Meaning Rashi says he doesn't know where and what this is talking about. But anyways, they to bring a sefer Torah. And there's a big halacha l'maisa learned out from this. They were bekiyim in the chaseris and yeseris. Anan loy bekiyinon. We're not bekiyim. Right? So Mamela, since we're not bekiyim, we can't, even if we take out a sefer Torah and we go through it, it doesn't mean, if the numbers are off, it doesn't mean that we're wrong. Now, from this, I think it's the Rush holds that you cannot be mekayim the mitzvah ksiva sefer Torah bizman hazeh. So anybody here who's feeling bad that they don't have their own private sefer Torah, the Rush, I think it's the Rush, holds because of this, our Sifrei Torah are not legit. They're legit, but we don't know for sure. So Mamela, we're not Yotze nowadays anyways, because we're not Bekiyim.
I partially didn't understand this morning, because that means that the Sefer Torah we have today is not the authentic one like we had at Har Sinai. If that's the case, how do we know that what we're learning today is what was 3,000 years ago? If that's what the Gemara is saying, how are we authenticize that everything that's in the Torah is what was 3,000 years ago?
So Zev, I was teaching you, because now you sound like me.
No, I don't know. This morning, I'm pushing. No, I don't want to sound like a.
Don't we say Ani Manin that we don't think the Torah was switched? Isn't it one of the Ani Manin?
Nobody thinks the Torah was switched.
So then what does this mean? I know, I want to understand what it means.
It means that we have to take whatever we could take that we have, but at the end of the day, there are mistakes that made its way through.
So then how do we know that maybe there's a mistake and it's not in the Torah? Why are you saying, if you're saying there's stuff missing, so who says?
I don't think it means that. It doesn't use that lashon here, missing chaseris and yuseris.
Reb Zev, I got to ask you a question. What time did you do this earlier today, and how come it's bothering you now, and you're bringing it up now?
No, it was bothering me this morning.
Earlier.
Parents, go back to it.
You could have texted him earlier.
Leave me alone. I'm asking a valid question. I'm not.
It's a valid question that could have been asked 4 hours ago, not now.
If I would say it, you would mute me.
Correct.
I'm gonna stop my own thing over here.
I don't. It's not the way I understood
welcome
the
to
Gemara.
Start your own thing at 6:30.
Anyway,
we can't count psukim because we don't know where
parents.
the beginning and end of psukim are. Some of the long psukim could be two. Some of the 3-word psukim could be part of another pasuk. So you can't count psukim because we know how many psukim there are. They knew exactly where each pasuk began and ended. We don't know that.
So what's missing?
Nothing's missing and nothing's extra.
There's letters missing. That's what the Gemara is saying. That there's letters missing.
There's letters.
It doesn't say
that. Chaseris and Yeseris.
It doesn't say that.
The Gemara is saying that there's letters missing.
Read the Gemara again. It doesn't say Chaseris and Yeseris by psukim. It says Psukim nami loy bekinan. That doesn't mean there's Chaseris and Yeseris. Halacha l'maisa, it's usher to write a Sefer Torah without copying. That's a Menachos. We'll see that. Moshe Rabbeinu had to copy. There has never been a Sefer Torah written without copying from a previous Sefer Torah. Has never happened.
So what's
Well,
Chaseris?
It's very nice, but it says Chaseris and Yaseris.
It doesn't. Where does it say that?
It doesn't in the Gemara.
And not my
That's, oh, where does it say that? By psukim or words and letters?
What's a chilik?
The Gemara uses a different lashon. Every other Gemara that uses a different lashon, you say what's a chilik? What are you talking about?
Okay, I don't know. Chaseris and Yaseris maybe could be miss. Like sometimes.
Gershon, if we make drushes based on a vav, so if the Chaseris and Yaseris, it's a big issue. The Gemara makes drushes on letters all the time.
Yeah. The people who made the drushes were Bekian.
Now you tell me the letters are not Meduyak?
No, they were Bekian. The drushes were made by Bekian. We can't make drushes from
Who's Anu? Who's Anu? Who's writing Anu? Not Rav Moshe Feinstein. Rabbi Cohen and Lakewood. The Gemara says they're not Bekian.
Amiroim, and they're talking about the Seifrim, who are the Tanoim. Who are the Seifrim? The Tanoim.
Very good. There, that's Baba Mises.
It's only a Gemara. I'm so sorry.
It's a question. It is a question. What should I tell you? I think it's a question. Okay, whatever it is, fine. So, boy, Rabbi Yosef, this what are you up to? Yeah, boy, Rabbi Yosef, this kalach. The word biskalach, which is halfway, right, of the psukim, that's on which side? Amalei, Abaya, psukim mia, leisa lemnuya. Right? So let's psukim you can count. Right? Maybe words, letters you can't count, but psukim you can. So it says no, psukim namile begina. We're also not bakim psukim. Tichiyasa Rav Acha, Barado Amar Marova Paskila. Lahai Kro Litlosa Psuki. Because in Marava they actually split this pasuk into three. So Mamela, we don't know the psukim. Right? So, but rather prokim, right, as everybody knows, most are of the opinion that prokim were made by Goyim. Hence, I think this Gemara is a proof to that. Because this Gemara is talking about letters, words, psukim. What about prokim? Right?
Well, I could have said parshiyus. That's
true, but I don't know if this part. Yeah, I guess maybe it's not a right. I thought it was, but okay, fine. Tana Rabban. Chameshes alofim u'shmayim meyos u'shmayim psukim have psuki sefer Torah. Yeah, yes or love Tehillim shmayna. Tehillim has 8 more words. Chasim imenu divrei yamim shmayna. Divrei yamim has 8 less. Okay, Tana Rabbanim. Vishinantim sheyehu. The Torah has divrei Torah mechudadu bepicha. The words of Torah have to be literally means sharp on your mouth. Meaning, look at Rashi. We have to read that Rashi stam the way it's supposed to be. It's as depressing as this Rashi is. We got to read it. Right, bottom Rashi. Right, you mechudadu bepicha chazor aleihem bichazer the Torah. Ubaduk ba'amkam, and check their depths. Shem yishalcha adam, that if a person asks you, don't you won't have to think. Ela shatucha loimer miyad. You could answer him miyad. Right. So that's meaning that's it. That's how much that is the chiyuv of Torah. So not only is it depressing that we don't even end up learning the whole Torah, most of Yidden, even those that do. Well, even the Torah that we do, we're not able to know to this extent, right? Okay, but that's what you're supposed to do. Shem yishalacha, back in the Gemara. Shem yishalacha adam davar al tagamgem. The timer like don't futz around. That would be the right word. Don't like about right? Ella amar lemiyad shenemar al tamabeis and mar lechachma chaysi at. A very interesting choice. Be a chachma in Torah that it's your sister. Rashi says you should be a bucky in it like your sister who's also to you. Right? Meaning you should, as well as a person knows that his sister is also to him, that's how well he should know the Torah. I think that's what it means. Right? And then
one is a negative, one is a positive.
Yeah, that's true.
So how you bring a raya?
No, because you just have to know it's so clear. That's all. Just have that knowledge, right? Tie them on your fingers and write it on your heart. Like the arrows in a strong person, the same thing are the kids. Right? Right here, after saying, okay, it's just sukkah, we can just go read them fast through, like that's fakir from the Taisus. Okay, the chates, the arrows of giburim ashenunim are sharp. Right, your arrows are sharp, and the nations are going to fall to you. Praises the person. Ashpasa here does not mean a garbage. It means his bow. My es bashar. What does it mean? Your enemies by the gate. Even a father and a son, right? A rab and a talmud. Doesn't say here father-in-law or son-in-law. Right? That they're being Isaac the Torah in one gate. Nasim Oivim Zeh, they make enemies with each other. Even though tonight you guys are on the same page, right? Ve'enam Zazim Yisham Ad Shenasim Oivim Zeh. They don't move, even though they're fighting each other. Right? They don't move from there until they love each other. Shenemar Esvahevis Pesufa. Al Tikri Pesufa. Don't read a Pesufa, meaning in the Yam Suf. Ella Pesaifa. At the end. Right, so at the end, everybody's happy, even though there's a lot of machlokes in the middle. At the end, they're all happy. Fine. Tanarabanan. The samtim, and you should place, right? You should place it. So sam tum, right? What does that mean? Nimshla Torah kisam hachayim. The Torah has a mashal to medicine that makes people live. Mashal adam. A father hit his son a big hit, and he put a bandage on his makav. When the bandage is on you, you could eat what you want, drink what you want. You can wash in hot or cold. You don't have to be scared. But if you take it away, numi, right? It's going to get a numi, which means it's going to make you have infections. I think that's the way it would be. So basically he's told him, as long as you keep to the medication, you can eat what you want, do what you want. I created the Yetzirah, and I created the Torah as a spice for the Yetzirah, meaning not really a spice, but as a medicine. If you're going to learn Torah, you're not going to be nimser b'yada. Right? So you have to keep learning Torah. So the shaila is, does Torah protect you only when you're learning Torah, or even when you're not learning Torah? So that was the Gemara in Saita. That was a machlokes, right? So I don't know what this Gemara is mashma. His whole business of the Yetzirah is with you. And if you want, you can overpower him. You can rule over him. Right? And hopefully you do a better job than the other Timshal Boy that the Torah says, which is Vevahu Yim Shal Bach. But we're not going down that road, right? Gosh. But yeah, so I Garada saw a very nice mashal from one of the Vizhnitzer Rebbes, the Friedikas. They said, what's with this during Aseres Yimei Tshuva, improving yourself with the Pasakum, right? The Paspalter, and whatever it is that you're supposed to improve. He said, well, that's the classic question. Were you fooling Hashem? So he said, no, like a doctor gives you a refuah, but says, by the way, with the refuah, temporarily you have to change your diet. In order for the refuah to work, temporarily you have to change your diet. Right? So that's because otherwise the medication won't work. So the same thing, when I says you make tshuva, we have a refuah from the Baruch Shalom to do tshuva. You got to change your diet for those 10 days, even though you're going to go back to your original. So what? It's not a kasha. Right? Okay, fine. Tarabanim. Kosher Yetzirah The Yetzer Hara is so bad. Shafilu Yitzroi Karu Ra. Even the one who created the Yetzer Hara calls him bad. Shenemer ki Yetzer Lev Adam Ra Min Urav. Right? Hashem saw that the Yetzer Hara is that man is bad from the beginning. That's a big chizik for us, that pasuk, at least for me. Right? Hashem saw man is bad. Man is bad with the Yetzer Hara. Right? It's not our fault. The Yetzer Hara is mischadish every day. Shenemar rak kol hayom. Rav Shimon ben Levi, Yitzrei shel adam miskaber lo b'chol yom uvakish hamisai, wants to kill him. Shenemar tzayfer Rasha l'tzadik uvakish lamisai. The Rasha looks at the tzaddik and wants to kill him. V'lmalei hakadosh baruch hu oizroi hen yachaloi. And if Hashem wouldn't help you out, you wouldn't be able to overcome. Shenemar elikim lo yazbenu b'yadoi. Hashem will not leave him in his hand. Fine. Tana d'Rav Yishmael. B'ni im pagabach menuvel zeh. If this menuvel, meaning the Yetzer Hara, gets you, mashchelu beis hamedrash, schlep him to beis medrash. Right? Im even hu, if he's a stone, nimuach, it'll melt. Im barzel, if it's metal, mispaitit, it'll be like it'll when you bang metal, it makes sparks and it disappears. Shenemar haloi koi dvarai ka'esh num Hashem ukapate shvutzasela. Im even hu nimuach shenemar. That's a song of the Daf, no parents. Right? V'aymer avanim shachaku mayim. Stones get knocked down with water. Right? Okay, so you schlep him to the. It's interesting. He says schlep him to the beis medrash. Doesn't say schlep him to learn. Right? Why don't you just say open a Gemara and learn? It says no, you got to schlep him to beis medrash. Not sure what the pshat in that is. Right? Fine. Then
you're not schlepping him to the beis medrash to have a cup of coffee.
It's true, but let's say you just to sit down and learn. Then what?
Let's leave that for your Shabbos Truva drasha. That's perfect for your Shabbos Truva drasha.
What?
I'm saying, isn't it just inherently implied?
What? That you're going to a beis medrash?
No,
the
opposite. The beis medrash is inherently a good place, whether you learn or not. Fakert from what you're saying. Take them to beis medrash.
Even if you don't learn,
take them to beis medrash.
Maybe all the Gemara is saying is that the same way the Yetzer Hara uses like tricks to get you, he like slowly pulls you away from things. Meaning, he doesn't just tell you to do bad things. He does it in a way that will like slowly draw you towards those bad things without you realizing. You should do the same. Media connected me. You should do the same thing to fight him. Go to the beis medrash, okay? So you'll grab a coffee, and then you'll slowly but surely end up in the beis medrash, and you'll actually learn. But like, combat him by doing the same idea. Do it in stages, so you don't feel like, first of all, it's overwhelming. He doesn't even hop, but you're beating him in his own game.
Reb Aaron, isn't that's kind of the that's kind of like the kunst of Reb Shlomo's whole thing about making the
beis medrash. You even used to be able to smoke in the beis medrash. It was way super good.
Halavai.
Okay,
maybe that's the.
That was the place to be.
I hear.
Maybe I don't know. It's interesting that he said bring him to the beis medrash.
My Shira smoked cigars in the shirum in 1997.
Wow, we've come a long way. That was no pun to that ad.
Could it be Akiva? What Akiva said was Takab Shah?
That what?
Could be. No, he didn't say anything wrong. Could be.
No, that you're trying to bring him in slowly into the beis medrash.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. It's certainly the key of people would certainly go with that shot, for sure.
What that is brought down in Sfarim, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure it's yeah. Okay, Lasiya Isha. Well, Sulitz has a seltzer machine if anybody's interested. I'm just telling you that you might not be able to smoke, but they do have a seltzer machine. Lasiya, the Hasidim know how to make seltzer with bubbles, let me tell you. Yeah. So Lasiya Isha, to marry a woman, right? So meaning the father has to marry off a woman. No, take women and then have boys and girls. Take sons and take daughters, whatever it is. So you understand, a benai, you can make your son go out on dates, right? What are you doing about your daughter? All right. How can a guy, right? This is the shidduch crisis. How are you getting anybody to date your daughter? Your son, you can make him go out on dates and find girls. How are you doing with your daughter? So what says, give her some things, give her money, dress her up, and so then people are going to want to marry her.
Because nobody's going to like her for who she is?
That's exactly what the Gemara says, David.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't sound so great, but that's the Gemara says. Dress her up, make her attractive, and then you'll have it. Okay, lalamdu umnus minalan. How do you know you have to teach your kid a trade? You should see life with the woman that you love, right? If it's talking about a woman mamish, isha, the same way you have to marry a woman, to have your son marry a woman, you have to teach him umnas. And if the isha is a mashal for Torah, the Torah, the same way you have to teach your son Torah, you also have to teach him an umnas. Fine. My timer. So chiyusei, because that's a way he's going to live, which we had said in yesterday's daf, that Rashi had said, because people go on boats, and if the boat capsizes, he's going to need to know how to swim in order to survive. So we're having a machlokes, me and David, today on text, because he said over from what's the name? What's the guy's name?
Rabbi Stefansky.
Rabbi Stefansky said over from Reb Zilberstein that you're mechuyev to teach your kids how to drive, which he didn't say a source. So I wonder, the way I understood it was, if your kid's driving, teach him how to drive, that he drives safe. That I hear. But
I don't hear that.
I know, David, hence the machlokes, me and David. I guess
Peretz, this has been bothering me, so we went at it earlier. I'm saying Peretz,
I'm very disappointed.
Right, Peretz, yeah, he fits in that this was bothering him a whole day, and we've been going through.
Yeah, I'm disappointed in you. I would have said it's not stop to drive. You have to teach your kid how to drive a stick.
And a chanami.
I agree, and that's how I roll.
Yeah.
But Siago, that does make a little bit of sense, though. Meaning nowadays, driving is you need to be able to do anything. You need to be able to drive. So if your kid doesn't know how to drive, then it's dangerous for him. It's a memela, it becomes dangerous for him.
Okay, I'll tell you in Yana de Yaima, I have my nephew who knows how to drive, but he started so late, and the poor guy is from LA. He came and slept by my house, and he went on a date with a girl from Queens this week, right? And the guy can't drive, so he had an Uber driver pick him up from my house, drive him to Queens, sat in the car the whole time, waited for him, drove him back. Here's a fortune. It's a fortune because the kid has a license, but he's driving too late. So I hear what Akiva's saying. I don't hear the sakana part. I mean, the machlokes with me and David was, I was timing that once the kid is learning how to drive, so you have a responsibility to make sure your kid drives safe. He was saying, no, you have a chiyuv to teach your kid how to drive. I'm not a chiyuv to teach my kid how to drive. I can tell my kid, don't drive, it's dangerous.
I have a story for you after the daf.
But David's not. You hear the machlokes between me and David about the Rav Zilberstein that I haven't even looked up because I don't know where to look it up. Right? So I don't know, but it would be helpful if I found a source for that. But Indian David, what about getting your kids technology? Can we say you have a chiyuv to teach your kid how to properly use technology?
I mean, I might have other sources, though, like Pikuach Nefesh in a way.
Yeah, but I'm saying it's you'd be.
You don't need to come on to this. It's some Pikuach Nefesh.
You can ask Eli Shapiro. He's got a whole thing on it.
Yeah. Okay. So isn't that one of the terminologies they use, that the kid is drowning in the internet? Oh, so there we go. We mamash have a zushtel. See, you learn with the chabura, and you get. I don't know if it's a smart thing, but whatever. Anyways, I would think that for sure you do. I tell that to parents, and they say, yeah, I have a flip phone, but I'm getting my kid an iPhone. Well, let me tell you something, buddy. If you're getting your kid an iPhone, you have a responsibility to learn how that thing works and to know what's going on. Don't be a tzaddik and say, oh, I don't know how to use an iPhone, but I'm going to get one for my kid. No, you learn how to use one, so the kid don't run circles around you. No? Okay. Whatever. Fine. If you don't teach your kid a job, not a job, I'm sorry, what do we call it? A trade, then you're teaching him listus. Listus on you're teaching him to be a crook. It says if he's going to teach him listus, my benayu. Oh, so what's the difference? Meaning, what's the difference between Rabbi Yehuda and the Tanakama? Right? So I'm going to answer. You can be now the Agmari Iska. You taught him business, but you didn't teach him a trade. Right? This is important. I think it's an important Rashi. Right? So the Rashi says, if you teach him business, so according to Tanakama, you taught him, you gave him a way to earn a living. According to Rabbi Yehuda, who says no, you have to teach him an umnus. It's dafka an umnus, because many times he has nothing. This business is the Fed's raising rates. The Fed is trying to slow down the economy. It's stopping all business. Business is at a standstill, or it's Corona. And you have no way to earn some money. But a guy who has a trade can make some money.
And if I taught my son how to be a computer programmer, and in 5 years artificial intelligence made computer programming obsolete, I didn't teach him anything?
You did. You taught him a trade for computers.
But he has to
update his knowledge of computers. Right? He has to. I would think that's. Yeah, you know, it's interesting, right? All these rich guys don't have a trade. The ones that have a trade are not rich, right? They're working for the government or they're working for an employee. They're a computer programmer. They got their salary in Gavaldik. Hopefully they're making ends meet in Zayagazun, right? But they have it. Or doctors, right? Accountants, New Akiva. Yeah, I'm saying they have but the ones that don't have trades, so some of them make a lot of money.
Why do I think accounting is not really a trade either. It's totally a business weiter.
Why? Everybody needs an accountant at some point. No?
Very debatable.
Yeah, you know better than me. You know better than me. Well, I guess if you're not earning any money, then you don't need an accountant.
Everybody needs a plumber.
That's true. Yeah, it's not as much as a.
You made that point yesterday. It's definitely different than an accountant. You just have knowledge. Like if businesses aren't running, nobody needs you.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. But a plumber, you do need electricians. You need, unless we go back to living upstate, maybe in the pure wild.
Then for sure, you need a plumber.
I hear. Okay. Anyways, fine. Kol mitzvahs aval ben. Any mitzvahs that's from the father onto the son. Now we get to a lot of controversy with this one too. If you think it's controversy with women having to dress themselves up to find the shidduch, this next Gemara is really like for women. It's very stressful. Okay. Anyways, my kol mitzvahs aval ben. What does it mean mitzvahs from the father onto the son? Ilay makol mitzvahs the mechayev aval lemeved lebrei. If you're going to say that any mitzvah the father's mechuyev to do for his son, right? Like we were saying yesterday. To give a mila, pidyon ben, all these things. Nashim chayavas, women are chayiv. That can't be. Vatanya av chayiv b'noi lebulei leftaisei. Aviv in imaylai. Only the father is mechuyev to, not the mother. So it can't be that any mitzvah that's from the father onto the son, a woman's included, because we already excluded.
Why can't it be every mitzvah except for bris?
Because it says kol mitzvahs ha'av ala ben. So it says kol. So once you don't have all, so then it can't be that's what it's referring to, I think. Right? So Amar Rabbi Yehuda, kol mitzvahs ha'av hamutelis al haben lasais la'aviv, any mitzvah that a son has to do for his father, which Rashi says, could go in kibbud u'mayra, being mechaber a parent and fearing a parent, then that's echad anashim v'echad nashim chayav. Whether it's men, women, they're all chayav. So kibbud avaim is a chiyuv equal for men and women, boys and girls, right? So Tanina L'Hadatana, Banan Ish, Ainli Ala Ish, Isha Minayin. It only says Ish, Imayva Tiro, right? So it only says a man. What about an Isha? So Kishu Aimer Tira'u, that's plural. Hare Kan Shnaim, that tells you two. Okay, so Imkain Matam Elamer Ish. So why are you saying man? Why are you saying again? The pasuk says man, which sounds like man, yes, women, no. Then we say no, but it says Tiro, plural. Okay, so then why are you saying Ish? So it answers Ish Sipik V'Yodei Lasai. So here's the line: a man is always able to be mechabed his parents. right? Rashi says nobody can make a macha not to honor the parents. Isha ain't sipik b'yada lasais. A woman does not have that option. Why? She's under somebody else's rishus. Whose rishus? Her husband. And the din is a husband comes first before the parents. This causes a lot of stress. But the bottom line is if the husband wants to go away and doesn't want to go to the parents, and then he wants to go to his parents and not to her parents, and the husband doesn't want the wife going to spend time by her parents, then she has to listen to the husband, right? Yeah, that's essentially, and it's I mean, that is the din. And sometimes it does cause stress. But the bottom line is that the woman, once she gets married, she's meshubed to the husband. It comes up, you know where else it comes up? We should never know from it. But when one spouse is in Avelis, right? Meaning if the wife is in Avelis and they're driving in a car and the husband wants to listen to music, he could listen to music. Even though she's in Avelis,
he doesn't win the Tzaddik of the Year award.
Yeah, you're 100. You took the words out of my mouth. I don't think he's certainly not getting the husband of the year award, right? Or the sensitive husband of the year award. But the bottom line is, according to halacha, he's allowed to. She's meshubed to the husband. Now, it could be even she's mechuyev to go to simchas with him, possibly, right? Because she's got to be his date.
Let's see how that actually works out in Shalom.
You can wait in the car for him.
You're right. Simon, maybe in South Bend it'll work.
Maybe work anywhere. Here. I was scared of my 5'4" wife in New York too.
What about Haftarah Chamecha?
No, and a Chanami, you have that. But bottom line is, if the husband has for whatever reason, then yeah. Actually, now that you say it, a guy asked me last night if his wife needs professional boxing lessons, whatever ones that the shvacha ones they have are women, are only women, but the ones the advanced boxing lessons is only a man. Can she go? I was like, I don't know who your wife is, but I am happy that it ain't my wife asking this question. Right? That was last night's story. But anyway, but that's
maybe
the thing.
He beats her.
Maybe he is sensitive and he plays the music that he knows she likes.
Oh, you're saying he wants to get her out of the doldrums because she's an Avelis.
He's not playing his music; he's playing her music in the car. No,
I hear. Or maybe that's a way to down the kafschus. But the bottom line is that yes, the covet of her husband comes before. So that's what comes up. So who does the daughter serve when she goes to the in-laws, to the parents? Who does she serve first? Her husband or her father?
No, but she's mechuyev to serve her husband. But the husband should tell to serve the father because
And let's say the husband doesn't like the father, fairly common occurrence, right? And he says, "I want."
The husband drinks bourbon and the father drinks scotch. She has to have open two bottles.
That's the Maisa Shahaya every week.
Right. So who's?
Can I put you on the phone with my wife?
Yeah. Who's she mechuyev to give? It's not so simple.
And the husband should learn Musa with a Tzvi Yaakov and be mevater.
Oh, there you go. It's not. I'm saying these things are not pashut. They're not pashut in whatever it is. Fine. Niskarsha also. That is also Niskarsha. If she gets divorced, then Shneim Shavim. Then they're both equal. Meaning she goes back to having the same chiyuv to honor her parents because she no longer has a husband. The quick question is, what's the havamina? Why? The only reason that she has less of a chiyuv to honor her parents is because she was married. She has a chiyuv to her husband. Now she gets divorced. Of course, her chiyuv goes right back.
So what means shneim?
No, niskarsha shneim shavim, meaning her and her brother. Let's say that's the way Rashi says it. Yeah, meaning boy and a girl are mechuyev to and they're chayiv in the mitzvah's kibud. Right? Okay, a few more lines. It's late. It says to be mechaber, you honor your father, you honor your father and mother. Right? And honor Hashem from your heart. Oh, the one other thing. there's two different things, mitzvahs. There's kibbud aveim, which we're going to see in tomorrow's Davar Hashem, kibbud aveim and yira. The wife is the covered, her husband's covered comes before the father's covered. But yira doesn't necessarily, that already is a machla, it's a whatever, it's a big hak in the place. Yira is not meaning, yira is like she can't sit in his seat. So just because she's married to her husband doesn't mean she's allowed to go sit in her father's chair. Right? She has to be mechabed one way, but not the other way. Anyway, but not yira.
If the husband says, go sit in your father's chair.
Oh, you mean if he asks her to?
Yeah.
I hear. While you listen to music in the novelas.
Correct.
Yeah, I hear.
He's also mechubed in his shver's covered.
Right.
Yeah, but that's only out covered, but not yira.
Yeah, but that telling her to sit there is a lack of covered, not yira.
Maybe. Okay, I hear. But never kaved is Hashem behind. Right? It says, be mechaber Hashem from your money. Hishva kasav kibbud aveim lekavod hamakom. Kibbud aveim is similar to the kavod hamakom. Never ish ima v'av tiro, but never es Hashem lekachatira. It says you have to fear Hashem, and it says you have to fear your parents. Right? Hishva kasav mayras av lemayras hamakom. Mayras aveim lemayras hamakom. The fear is the same. Never mekalul avimay mais yumas. Somebody curses his parents should die. But never ish yiki kala lekov. When a man curses his God, and he's going to have to deal with his chet. Again, we use the lashon bracha instead of using the lashon of klala, right? It means klala. Obviously, you can't compare hitting Hashem to hitting parents because you can't hit Hashem. And the same din is that they're all three are shutfim, right? Father, mother, and their Rebbeinu Shalom. What does this mean? There's three partners. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'Avi v'Imai. Bisman she'adam mechaber es Avi v'es Imai, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ma'ila li'an le'em kilu darti b'neim v'chabduni. If they're treating their parents properly, then it's as if I'm living together with them, meaning Hashem is there, right? Fine. Okay. We'll stop there. Just tell you another shayla taka that came up kibbud aveim. A guy asked me, so most of his siblings are married, and I think it's only him home, maybe him and a sibling for Rosh Hashanah. He says, what's with this school of saying the whole Tillim twice? So he wants to know if he should say after Ma'ariv. He figures after Ma'ariv, first night Rosh Hashanah, he'll stay the whole Tillim, and then he'll come late to his Suda. Or should it better that he comes to his parents' Suda and sits there with his parents? Well, I said to him, I don't know where the school comes from, but I could tell you, keep it of aim, straight in the Torah, right? That you got to keep it of aim, to be mahana your parents, to sit by a Suda on Yom Tov with your parents, is, I believe.
Right, saying Tehillim is not a Doraisa.
It's not even I don't know what it is, but it's certainly not being mechabed the parents. I said, I don't see how you could go wrong by sitting by your parents' Suda on Rosh Hashanah instead of saying Tehillim. I said, if you're a real big man, say Tehillim later. But whatever. But anyways, I don't know. I hope the Olam agrees with that psak. Anyways, all right.